are about to connect with people who are ready to bring you the most open, honest, and revealing life stories. Welcome to JourneyTV. Welcome to today's episode of JourneyTV. I'm Marlene Camille, your host, and today I'm here with Shavonne Strachan. Shavonne, welcome back to JourneyTV.
Yes. Happy to be here.
We've seen you several times.
Yes.
You are doing amazing work in the community through We Life.
Thank you.
And today you are giving us a special treat by sharing your journey.
Yes.
Your personal journey.
Yes.
So it is a pleasure to have you here. I am grateful that you are willing and to be open and transparent because people need to hear your story.
Yes.
So I know you. We've had many conversations. I want you to tell our viewers, introduce yourself to our viewers.
Okay. Well, my name is Shavonne Strachan. I'm 32 years old. I'm originally from Freeport, Grand Bahama. I came here on a one-way ticket, no job, nowhere to live. And some 10 plus years later, I'm here today. I'm a technical associate at BTC. I have my NGO, We Life Foundation. I have my associate's degree in information technology management. And recently I just launched my online clothing business in November during the ending of 2020, which was a difficult year. And yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
A very busy entrepreneur.
Very busy.
How was Shavonne as a child? Like, what was your personality?
My personality as a child, I was very shy, very reserved. I believe I was also a little bit depressed. I spent a lot of time by myself. But one thing I remember about myself is I was always a kind person. Even when nobody taught me about God, I knew about God. I just remember praying through difficult times as a child. I just knew it was something that was always in me. But, a lot of trauma, I believe, molded my personality to be that way. And so today I'm really just discovering who I really am.
I will drop a nugget there. That means that you are chosen. When we walk through life and we automatically have that connection and we talk to Him, you are chosen. Yes. So you talked about you as a child, and you said that you were shy, reserved, and depressed to some degree. I know in our conversations you mentioned what got you in that shell as a child. So I want you to share that with us.
So I would have to give a little bit about my background and where it really started. So like I said, I grew up in Freeport, a single parent mom of 5 girls in the inner city community. So my dad, he was in jail for about 15 years of my life. So I really have no memory of him as a child. But growing up, you kind of just don't know why that person is missing or why you see your mom struggling and dealing with certain things. On top of that, I went through an accident where I can still remember it clear as day. I was reaching for a clothing item that was kind of up high. We had like this high shelf, and I was trying to help my sister pull down one of her pants for church. So I thought that I could jump and grab it. When I jumped, I did grab it, but I landed mouth first on the windowsill. And so I ended up cracking up my teeth, and a few went missing and what's not. Now, my mom, she's obviously very busy, so she didn't have time to take me to the dentist right away. She told me to get the teeth and put it somewhere. Now, I'm just a child. I'm probably in 3rd grade or so. So I thought it would be a good idea to hide my teeth in my secret place, which was underneath the carpet somewhere. Now, obviously, a few weeks go by. She asked me, where is it? I'm looking for it. I can't find it. So that just the way it had to be until I was like up to 11th grade.
When did this happen again?
3rd grade.
3rd grade, okay.
Around 3rd grade.
And in 11th grade, you're like 15, 16.
Right. So through that whole period of time, I went through not having front teeth, and obviously that led to a lot of teasing at home and at school. So I would find myself in between both places, finding no type of love or acceptance. And that caused me to train myself to put my hair down when I speak or I would speak very softly or muffle. I would try to like hide it when I talk, because every time I open my mouth, people would laugh at me or they would make jokes. And when you're rejected like that, it creates a low self-esteem, a lot of anger, depression. I still struggle with eye contact because I would try not to look at a person, so forgive me if I still do it, because I'm trying to still train myself up to today. That's how damaging it was. I would not want to look someone in the face because I would always feel like they're looking in my mouth. I remember a particular situation, a group of guys called me over like they were interested in me. And they asked me my name. And the moment I opened my mouth, the entire group started laughing at me. And I remember I just stood there frozen. I could not move. And my best friend at the time, she had to basically pull me away from the situation. That's how frozen I was. So dealing with that created a lot of anger, and I didn't feel accepted. My family would join in on the teasing. I remember begging my sister not to tell anybody around the neighborhood, and she still did it. And that was my life for a long time, people just laughing at me. So I learned to keep my head down. And that was the start of when I just started to feel like I don't belong, I don't fit in anywhere. Not with my family, not at school, not with friends.
Shavonne, I have to tell you, just the motion of you putting your head down when you were speaking just now, that completely broke my heart.
Yes.
And it brought tears to my eyes. I am so sorry that you had to endure that as a child. But we are going to take a break and come back and tell viewers about what unfolded as time went on. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back with this powerful story.
Nkosi Kweku Simonette, CEO and Operations Manager at Sign Island. Sign Island started from desperation. My wife went ahead and bought the first printer. I still have no idea how we are where we are. I owe it all to my staff and my customers. You need support. One man is not an island. You can't do it on your own. If you think you can do it on your own and you are succeeding, you can do even more with a little bit of support. The support I've got from my clients has been amazing.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, I'm here with Shavonne Strachan, who has just shared how rejection early on in her childhood and adolescence has affected her throughout her life. Shavonne, right before the break, you revealed that you had a childhood accident that caused you to lose several teeth, and how you would be teased everywhere you went. In school, even family members were insensitive towards you, what you were going on, and people would actually make a mockery of you. And like I said before the break, just hearing your story and picturing in my mind, I saw little Shavonne, and it honestly just broke my heart. So you mentioned how that caused you to keep your head down and keep you silent.
Right. And something somebody told me what stuck with me was that the enemy always attacks you in the area that you're most anointed in. And so I found it, funny today, realizing that he attacked my mouth. And so that kept me silent. I didn't want to speak, and I know now that the power that words have over you. So with me not being able to combat what was being thrown against me, I kind of received everything. So anything people would put on me, I just took it. And that broke me down so much, it made me a vulnerable person. And now when you're vulnerable, it gives room for the enemy to really attack you. And that's when I experienced, I think, around 4th grade too, like sexual harassment. And I remember clearly, we were around the neighborhood kids spending time by one of their homes. And an older boy, about 13, I probably was like 7 at the time, I could remember he pulled me in the bathroom, took off his shorts, and he was like, put my mouth on it.
You were 7 and he was 13.
Yes. And I remember again putting my head down, and I said, no, very softly. And I don't remember today if I did it or not, but I do remember him coming out of the bathroom, and he was like, I'm gonna tell everybody you're a nasty girl. And again, being afraid to open my mouth, I let him say that. And I remember all of the girls who were in the house, they started teasing and mocking.
In the house, at home?
Yes. I don't know where the adults were, but I know my mom was always working, so we would be around the neighborhood all day.
So your family continued to tease you?
Yeah, family and other friends who were there. I just remember hearing, oh, Shavonne, you're a nasty girl, and this and that. And I did what I usually do, go in my corner, hug my knees to myself, and I accepted it. You know, I was a nasty girl. I didn't know how to speak up for myself or say, like, you know, that wasn't the case. So that it didn't happen like that. You know, that was against my will. But he made it seem like that was something that I wanted to do. And then from there, as I got older, I realized it was a continual pattern of men who shouldn't have, you know, wanted to touch me, did, and I would not say anything because I was already trained to keep my mouth closed. And I think when you look at pedophiles or perverts or whatever, they look for people like who I was. The quiet ones, the shy ones, the ones who probably won't say anything. And I remember too, one was a teacher, tried to you know, make it with me in a certain part of the school.
High school?
Mm-hmm, high school. One was a bus driver who also tried, you know. I thank God that none ever was successful in going all the way. But there are even like religious people who you trust, and you're trying to run somewhere, and it's like everywhere you go, these authority figures or people that you think you can trust, they use your vulnerability to their advantage. Mm-hmm. And so I just became a very angry person, a very sad person. I wanted revenge at some point. I remember writing a list as a child of all the people I wanted to just hurt. Mm-hmm. and get back at. Mm-hmm. And I kept that list for a very long time. But it wasn't in my nature still. And as I was sitting down thinking about the story today, I think it's very unfair as a child to have to choose between whether you want to open your mouth and get humiliated or keep it closed and be disrespected by, you know, somebody that shouldn't be doing something. Mm-hmm. And I feel that's what a lot of women go through today. Yeah. You're scared to talk because it may not be that you are missing a teeth, but there's something that broke you down and keeping you silent, yeah.
Shavonne, there's so many layers to your story. You talked about what happened earlier, how everyone responded to you, what that did to you internally. It made you quiet, it silenced you, and how even when people would try to sexually abuse you or even sexually abuse you, you remained silent. I can't even imagine what that has done to you as a person. There is a child out there who has experienced exactly what you have experienced. Me, myself, I've experienced sexual abuse, not in the way that you have. I think I was a little bit more vocal. I want you to speak to children and teenagers out there who may be in a situation where they are being taken advantage of and no one is protecting them. They feel like there's nowhere for them to go because even family is making them feel like they don't belong. I want you to speak to them.
Well, one of the things that I would say to anyone who is dealing or can relate to my story is to first understand that whenever you're dealing with rejection, is to understand that you are a very powerful person. And when you are powerful, you can expect opposition. And you have to understand that while God has a plan for us, the enemy also has a plan for us. But you have to make a decision. Either you're going to believe and play out the story that the enemy has written for you, or you're going to stand on God's word, which he says that he knows the plans that I have for you, plans for you to prosper and not to harm you, and to give you hope and to give you a future. And so when you don't have anywhere or anyone else to turn to, the first thing is hold on to your faith, hold on to the word of God, and find someone, even if it's myself, anyone that you feel is relatable and you can trust. Most importantly, turn to that person, but remember to turn to God first and hold on to his word, because that's the only thing that's going to keep you at the end of the day.
Shavonne, I have to have you back. Next week, you are my guest. You have to finish sharing the rest of this journey, because we've only touched the surface and maybe penetrated the midsection of it. So next week, you're going to be back with us, okay? So next week, if you want to hear the other side of what happened with Shavonne as she evolved through rejection and as she overcame rejection, please tune in next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. But don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back on the other side of this break.
Want to learn more about our guests? Subscribe to Footprints Journey blog, where special features will be released to give you more insight into their journeys and allow you to ask them questions.
We want you to journey with us.
I am an overcomer.
I am an overcomer.
I am an overcomer.
And you? You are an overcomer. I know, because you have endured and persevered through so many of life's biggest challenges.
Join us for stories like yours, stories of incredible strength, courage, and survival. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. right here on RTV.
JourneyTV.
JourneyTV.
We share
life's truths.
The Give Back, presented by Ensure. Your life, your health, your Ensure.
My name is Donnell Major Fox. I'm the founder of Families on the Spectrum Bahamas. We are an organization that is fairly new and started just a few years ago, and our main focus is to help bring about more awareness of the impending epidemic, I call it, of autism spectrum disorder. Because we're fairly new, we've not been able to accomplish as much as we'd like, but we have been meeting with officials directly connected with the education of students with autism, and also trying to launch a major awareness campaign so that we can educate Bahamians or desensitize the population as to what autism is, how it affects the individuals directly affected, and how to go about supporting those families and students or children who are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. I was inspired to start Families on the Spectrum Bahamas because I have a 2.5-year-old son who was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder at the age of 2.5 years old. And when we got the diagnosis, it was somewhat of a shock. We didn't know if he was the only child that was affected, and then slowly but surely, after doing research, we found that there was not very many avenues for support or even guidance as to how to go about getting him the right help that he needed. And so Families on the Spectrum was formed out of that notion that, you know, families, once they would have gotten their diagnosis, they have somewhere to go to retrieve information, get direction as to where to go, who to talk to get the necessary help for their child or loved one. I would like to invite the general public, families, friends, aunts, uncles, cousins, to come out and support or just be more informed about the effects of autism, how it affects the individual, their family members. Follow us on Facebook at Families on the Spectrum Bahamas, and my direct contact is 242-646-1838.
Move with strength and energy. Drinking Ensure, you get vitamins, minerals, and up to 30 grams of high-quality protein. Your life, Your health, your ensure.
Philippa, our guest, Shavonne Strachan, of course, shared her story with having a childhood accident which led to losing several teeth and her being humiliated in the home and out in public, you know, socially. And she shared how that affected her, just her confidence, her entire being, where rejection set in. What was your take on her story?
So rejection hurts so much at the core of who you are, simply because the way we are wired as human beings is to belong. We have a desire to belong. We were created for community. We were created for relationships, especially from our family, who are meant to protect us, provide for us. That's the first unit that we are a part of, that we belong to. So in a situation where you experience rejection from your family, that can cut deep. And rejection hurts for the person that's experiencing it just as much as if you, Earlene, were to have a broken leg and you feel the pain from that broken leg, you feel from rejection, okay? It's a broken heart, so that's painful.
Wow.
And not only was the family environment one that teased or bullied or rejected, but it was also experienced on the outside, in the school environment. So there you have social rejection. And rejection being painful could also lead to loneliness, sadness, and depression, because you don't have that sense of belonging. So when you look at rejection, it eats away at the confidence of an individual. And once that individual feels broken, that can lead into so many other behavioral problems, as was indicated by your guest. And if there was something that I could share with our viewers, anyone out there who may be experiencing any form of rejection, it would be, do not allow your pain or your hurt from rejection to cause you to want to take revenge. But most importantly, even though you may feel unwanted, you may feel undervalued or not accepted, I want you to know that you are accepted, that you are valued, right? That you do belong. And if your home environment or your social environment does not provide that for you, seek it somewhere else, but in a healthy environment. There's someone out there who is willing to embrace you and accept you just the way you are.
Thank you so much for your feedback on that. You know, her story, Shavonne's story, just had so many layers. So we are actually going to have her back next week for us to get into, you know, the next phase of what occurred after that adolescent period. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, give love and light to the people around you, but most importantly, don't forget to give it to yourself. Join us next time for more JourneyTV.